Are you recording?
Let me quadruple check. I know I pressed the button, but let me see if it's happening. Yep, yippity-doo.
Okay. Welcome everybody to our next episode of Best Motion Picture 2010. Today is a bonus episode talking about two movies that weren't in either category of being Academy Award nominated, nor totally abysmal and horrifying. Two movies that we feel have stood the test of time and are still extremely relevant today: Scott Pilgrim versus the World and Shutter Island.
Hell yeah. We picked these movies, like Anna said, because they've stood the test of time. Things we want to talk about today is like, one, the greatness of the movie, what makes them really unique and stand out, and that the rewatchability of both of these films. Do you want to go like one at a time, or how you want to do this?
I feel like I have less to say about Shutter Island.
Sure, I agree.
So let's talk about Shutter Island.
Okay, yeah.
Leo, Mark Ruffalo, Ben Kingsley,
Michelle Williams.
Yeah. And a few others that are maybe in things here or there. Thrilling movie. This was a movie, like you said, when we did The Social Network and Sex and the City, which you can watch right up here. You watched The Social Network at like sleepovers and things.
Yeah.
We watched Shutter Island after Homecoming, at sleepovers. We would also like watch other things, but we definitely watched Shutter Island and we would quote Shutter Island to each other.
That's so funny.
Right, because it's not like a funny movie.
It's not like a funny movie. It's not a funny movie.
Ain't no fairy in this shit. That is like said by an orderly, said all the time. If I were to sink my teeth into your eye right now, would you be able to stop me before I blinded you? We would just say that. At the lunch table.
At the lunch table.
Class, whatever.
Okay.
Oh, Buffalo fucking Bill is in this movie. He's the warden, which I did not know in high school because I didn't watch Silence of the Lambs till college, but watching it, I was Leo again. That's Buffalo Bill. That's Buffalo Bill.
Here's my high school Shutter Island story. I saw this movie in theaters with a friend I do not speak to anymore, and here's why. We were like, I don't know if it's when they start saying that Rachel is missing, or if it's whenever he picks up like 67 and they start being like, there's actually 67 patients. But I turned to my friend sitting next to me and I said, how much do you want to bet he's the missing patient? And she looked me dead in the eyes in the theater and said pretty loudly, I hate you and I don't want to hang out anymore. And we did not hang out again.
Jesus. See, me and my friends definitely were like, what?
With this ending, this came out in February and then Inception came out that summer. And I thought the ending was like the ending of Inception. Like you weren't supposed to know like what's true or what's not. And now looking at it today, I'm like, no, he is mentally ill, and he chooses to, spoiler alert, he chooses to get lobotomized because he doesn't want to live with those memories or have to worry and think about it.
While watching this, I kept confusing Inception in this movie as to what really happened with the kids, because I know in Inception, he can't look at their face, and with this, I was like, oh wait, he killed the kids. I was confusing almost the stories, not that Leo kills his kids in Inception, but I was like, oh, wait a second. Because it had been a while since I watched it. I loved the twists and the turns and the ending. And at the end, this was the first time watching it as an adult. Whenever Mark Ruffalo goes and sits with him on the steps and he's like, what's the next move, boss? And he's like, damn, it runs really thick. That was my first time that I was like, oh, he is choosing. He said that because he knew he was going to get lobotomized, and he wants to,
he wants to die a good man.
And he wants to absolve himself. Because he says that quote about, a monster. I think Mark Ruffalo is like, hold up.
Yeah, he for a hot second is like, hold up. And then he calls him Teddy, and he doesn't respond. And, that's how he, knows.
Which I had not picked up on when I was a teenager. I thought, oh my god, he really went right back. He snapped right back, the delusional bitch. And now I'm like, no, he was like, I'm doing this.
Here's my dumb teenager thing of, blah, blah, blah. I was certain Mark Ruffalo didn't exist. People address him the whole movie. People hand him objects. People take things. So I was like, watching his daughter, I was like, why did I think that?
I thought that was brilliantly done. When they talk about Dr. Sheehan, and especially like some of the nurses, they look at him because they're like, bitch, what the fuck am I supposed to say? That was one thing I did remember, though, that he was in on it. And so, like, I picked up on, oh, they're addressing him, they're talking to him because he's his doctor. I was just like, wow. This is a good movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's a great movie. It's a great movie. It's a great cast, got a great score. It's visually, I would like to say that it's visually intriguing. Watching it, you want to see more. You want to know more. You want answers.
Yeah.
It's like Lost, but resolved.
Scorsese. This was not the first time Scorsese worked with Leo. I mean, The Departed.
I think it's like the 5th time, actually, because he did Gangs of New York with him. We'll look it up. I'm sure there's a graphic down there that already said so.
Either way, just a great performance. Ben Kingsley, and it wasn't Werner Herzog, but the German guy. That was something I found a little bit interesting and that I didn't remember was the whole, like, the Holocaust flashbacks.
Oh, yeah.
And so that just adds another layer of, like, the trauma. It's a crazy movie.
It was. And, like, I, like, knew, like, I remember the ending, like, oh, she killed them kids, blah, blah, blah. I didn't, like, necessarily remember the Holocaust part, and when I was like, oh, yeah, this is why it's really scary and compelling. And then that ending drowning scene happens, and I was like, I am now sick to my stomach. This is one of the hardest things I've, like, ever watched. It was horrible. Super huge emotional response. If you can get me to get an emotional response, I will, like, I love the movie. Unless it's, like, in another way. But that's different. Those are my feelings.
You saying if you can get an emotional response, I love the movie, I was automatically like, Toy Story 3.
That was an emotional response.
The whole time. I don't know, like, what else I have to say about Shutter Island. It's rewatchable, if we haven't said that already. And, you know, I own a copy. I've owned a copy since probably 2011.
And I'd like to say that rewatchability comes from those twists. And because this movie does have a finite ending, you do get to realize more and not speculate. It's like you get to sit and enjoy it instead of, like, with Inception, which we will get to on another time. It's arguable. It's relative. It's not arbitrary, but it's like you'll never get those answers no matter how many times you watch Inception. You get these answers in this movie.
Yeah, I won't speak about Inception. But Scott Pilgrim.
Bitch, I saw this movie in theaters 3 times. This is the hardest I've ever laughed in a movie theater. And, like, this was also Social Network, Scott Pilgrim. I definitely was dressed as Knives for, like, more than one party. It was a huge thing. We were obsessed with this movie, and I still am. I do, in fact, re-dye my hair every week and a half.
I don't think I saw it in theaters. This was a movie I feel like my sister, like, claimed. Big sister problems. So I definitely saw it. I don't remember when I saw this movie for the first time, but I, again, owned a copy. Anytime it's on TV, again, it's like bopped around all the streaming services / I've owned a copy. It's definitely been rewatched a million times. And there's so many quotes.
I'd argue every line of dialogue is super quotable. Except for that one moment when Kim decides to drop the R word. The rest of it, piece by piece, perfect. Every frame is a perfect photo. Like Edgar Wright.
I feel like so well incorporated the vibe of the books of the video game, but it's a comic book, and then with all of Ramona's ex flashbacks, it's the style of the books.
Yeah.
And like Jonah Hex, like,
I can't discuss that right now. You had a physical copy of this movie. I don't think I had a physical DVD of it. I think I did have a straight up compact disc of the soundtrack. Because it's its own work of art that's somehow also completely integral to the movie.
Yes, entirely. I think, like, my sister might have got the CD, but then we put it on iTunes, and it's been on my iPod or iPhone ever since. This is actually, like, a quote from possibly an actor who's in, like, Edgar Wright movies. Scott Pilgrim walked so that Baby Driver could run. As far as the music being in the story and a part of the story, but a great, like, separate work. Just the editing style and the pacing of everything. And it really adds so much artistic value to the movie. one of the things, besides Kim saying the R word, this is a way more disjointed discussion.
That's whatever.
Watching this being a 25... what?
No, I'm like, is it about Scott dating a teenager?
Yes.
Oh, God. Horrible as an adult. Horrible. Which shows how much of this is a problem, that we were 15 when this released, and not until we were adults did we realize that's f***ed up and wrong. That's why it's a problem. A teenager wouldn't see it was a problem.
One of the funnier things, again, that I was like, haha, oh God, was like when they're at the party at Julie's place, and he's like, Ramona Flowers is supposed to be here, and he's like, Como, you know everyone, and it was like, Como, age 25, knows everyone. I was like, oh damn, I'm old.
And like the immediate moment after that is, do you know a girl that looks like this? With that picture? And he goes, yes, that's Ramona Flowers. Funniest shit on earth.
Tell me everything you know about her. But yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, dating a teenager.
Fucking gross. What? I couldn't even imagine a high school. And then obviously just 17 and 22. I mean, like it's not something that I think, you know, like Edgar Wright came up with. I think this was more of the
No, that's from the original book. It's that.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing I'll say about it is, I'm not trying to say this to give Scott any credit. I think that age difference, it shows what a bad place he's in his own personal life. To date someone significantly younger, that means you're not able to date people your same age. And, like, there's something wrong, there's a disconnect. Like, you don't have that same level of maturity, and you don't have that same level of, like, emotional stability with yourself. You can recognize that and work on that and not be someone that dates teenagers, and that's okay. But you have to recognize that and work on that. That is kind of what happens to him. Like, he's working through things, and all the women in his life think it's super fucked up and say something about it. And Wallace. But everyone else is like, she's too good for you. She's a teenager. This is wrong.
That's what I was like, we do need to point that out, that people say, Scott, what the hell? And also, he, with Knives, is not, like, he's like, oh, we almost held hands once, and he's, like, almost giddy about that. He's not like, oh, yeah, we've already slept together. What did I say that one time? Hey, I'm 26, you hot teen.
Horrible. Horrible.
With Scott, it was like, okay, they went to the arcade, they would, like, maybe hold hands, they hugged, they kissed, like, once or twice.
Yeah, she kisses him in, like, a sneak attack kiss in front of Ramona at the Rocket.
Yes. That was one of the only things that I was like, yikes.
Yucky duck.
But so many other things about this movie, fantastic.
Right. It really is like, what if the cutscene of the video game was the most compelling part?
I said in the Jonah Hex video that this movie being a comic book movie Western was almost like its downfall. The comic book and therefore video game-ness, because video games are such a huge part of the books, of Scott Pilgrim makes it even better.
Yes.
How much they leaned into it and utilized that style.
Wait, hold up. Can we just like, I don't know what I was going to say. However, let's talk about how Kieran Culkin is in his bag in this movie?
Yes.
Listen, we shouldn't be giving gay roles to non-gay actors. I would like to make a second exception. Stanley Tucci and now Kieran Culkin.
I feel like Wallace is an incredible person, and also I feel like I know people who are Wallace. And I'm friends with them.
Yes.
Because guess what? We're queer.
Yeah.
Of course we are.
Yeah. This cast is also like gigantic. Maybe that's another piece of it that's like, these are reasons people want to be like, oh, also this person's in this movie. Oh, also this person's in this movie. Oh, also Aubrey Plaza's in this movie. Oh, also Anna Kendrick's in this movie.
Chris Evans, Brie Larson, Jason Schwartzman.
Yes.
Just a few. Mae Whitman makes an appearance. She's an evil ex.
Oh, that was the moment, by the way. That was my emotional response. The lines, the quotability, your friends quoted a million things. Here's something really inappropriate me and my friends would do in high school. You know how, like, You walk past the doorway and you see your friend through the window and you like wave and like they like try to like wave back without getting the teacher's attention. We would just yell, "Guess who's drunk?" And if you were brave enough, you would yell back,
Wallace!
I guess Wallace." It was horrifically inappropriate. I cannot believe I never got in trouble for it.
I guess Wallace.
You guessed right.
We both say the delete.
I probably say that 1,000 times per edit.
I gotta pee on her is one I know I would say.
New Girlfriend maybe was one that was like ridiculous. Also, Johnny Simmons is in this movie.
You punched the highlights out of her hair!
No Clue gets it. I like think that all the time. We used it in the Avatar episode.
With Todd, vegan police, and then chicken isn't vegan.
Chicken isn't vegan! Oh my god, wait. I have a sound bite. I got permission from our artist, Julie Griffith, who made like all of our titles and our icons and gave us our color scheme. The other day in a text message, we were talking about Harry Styles in a very tasteful and respectful manner. And she sent an audio message of her, and I'll play it right now.
If we don't see Crash and both the boys, I don't want it.
Which just like the fact that that's like in her mind, like Crash and the boys, like
Bread makes you fat!
that
Bread makes you
every
fat?
day.
That was a line said
By
around
every
the
person who
world.
ever watched the movie. Like
I guess one thing we can mention is the representation.
yeah, one constant thing from our series, because we didn't do any animated series, but we're also talking about 4 movies, which this is only 2, so let's talk about it.
Well, obviously, we kind of just mentioned Wallace and the gay thing. I thought it was funny, and gay people are just human, and Wallace is a bitch, and guess what? It doesn't matter. Well, I don't want to say guess what, it doesn't matter. Karen Culkin did a great job, is what I mean. It is set in Canada, in Toronto, but guess what? I know a lot of brown people reside in Toronto, Canada.
Yes.
There is Matthew Patel. To my knowledge, that is a real, like, South Asian actor.
That scene is supposed to be like inspired by like a Bollywood fight scene too, which is I guess cute. There's Ken and Kyle Katyanagi also in this, but like they have like a huge role in the 5th book, I believe. But they don't talk in this movie. They just battle of the bands.
Well, see, with Matthews, I was like, okay, obviously, like, this is kind of Bollywood, but I was like, to me, I was almost like, is this nice, or is this, like, parodying? It's really dancing on that line of being potentially offensive.
Yep.
And just, I'm not, like, Indian to say whether or not it is, but I was, like, watching it, again, as an adult. I wasn't like, oh, yeah, Slumdog Millionaire Bollywood, like, he's dancing. I was a little bit like, is that appropriate?
Yeah.
And like, if it is, cool, fine. I'm just now questioning. And then with the Kadiyanagi twins, yeah, they don't speak a single word.
They do not. They're just there to look cool and die.
See? So it would have been nice to, have like...
If there were so many people in this movie, like, yeah, they got a million big names. Brandon Routh's in this movie. I don't know if it's Routh or Ruth. It didn't have to be Aubrey Plaza. It didn't have to be Johnny Simmons. Those teeny little places where it's like, yeah, it was super cool to see those people. There's a ton of other people who aren't white that would also been super cool to see.
And I know, okay, yes, it's based on a comic book, but again, that's still like a fictional world, and liberties still could have been taken. And we haven't even mentioned Knives and her, like, friend, but there were no black people, period, in this movie.
There were not.
Knives, one of the, like, main characters?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say purpose. And they say, like, oh my gosh, an Asian schoolgirl. They, like, fetishize her without fetishizing her. They speak about fetishizing her, but you don't.
Everyone's like, shame on you.
They're like, oh man, come on, you're digging yourself into a deeper hole.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, she and Scott end on good terms.
She had her own person, but her person did exist there to be an Asian schoolgirl.
Yes. And she had an arc as well.
If we were scoring this category, what would you give it regarding marginalized persons?
I think I'd give it at least a 3.
Yeah, there is some representation, and some of it is good, but there's not enough representation, and some of it is like...
questionable, but not, oh my god.
Yep. What about Shutter Island? What do you think?
With marginalized peoples?
Yeah.
I mean, there were, like, the black orderlies.
Yeah.
Which, do I have to say, like, historical fiction? But it wasn't historical, it's not like a historical event. But it was a period piece. They would have been orderlies.
I don't know what ethnicity Sir Ben Kingsley is.
Oh, I looked this up a while ago because I was like, that man won an Oscar for playing Gandhi, and that's kind of up. But he is, like, the tiniest bit, like, Indian or South Asian. But, I mean, he's British. I can double check right now to see if there's a broader...
A lot of Wikipediaing later.
So, questionable. And in this movie, I mean, his name is like Dr. Cooley? What's his name?
He's not playing someone who's also Indian in the movie.
Yeah, there's some black people, and they have a few lines. Ain't no fairy in this shit, but,
there's also a gay sex scene in the movie. When he's walking through Ward C and he's, like, looking at all the cells, there's a cell that's, like, 6 dudes going at it.
I'm not gonna say you're wrong.
I can't show you that scene. I was in fact wrong. If you want to check it out for yourself, here's the timestamp. Shutter Island is currently playing on Netflix.
Okay, kind of what I was saying earlier, like, if it was set in the 40s, there probably wouldn't have been, like, a black doctor that would have worked at this high-security prison. However, it's a fictional story! That's what I feel like I'm gonna come around every time and be like, but was this real, though? We've given exceptions, not that we're, like, officially rating this. Fighter and 127 Hours. Where it's like, well, these people that the story are about are not people of color. They are white people. We've given examples. Go watch our other videos and you can see what we say.
Yeah. Click on whatever card just popped up. Yeah.
Go watch a video and see what we have to say about the representation. But for these movies, it is fictional stories adapted from books. Could have been more. Obviously. Room for improvement.
Our point of this was like, these are 2 of the actual best motion pictures of 2010, even though they didn't get any, like, acclaimed things. They didn't get any nominations for anything, and, like, one of the big things about this whole series is the Academy isn't everything, and these 2 movies are the real proof here. I think one of the biggest things is that Scott Pilgrim this year, I think maybe a week from this release, is going to get a special, like, wide release 10-year anniversary.
But that's happening now.
It's happening right now?
Okay, so the movies we've been talking about are either Academy Award nominated, ranked as some of the worst movies that came out this year, or were, like, top grossing movies, and neither of these 2 movies are on none of those lists. But guess what? They are probably 2 of the most talked about movies still today. They are relevant, they are watchable, they're quotable, still overall good movies, even with their flaws.
Right. If we were scoring these 4s and 5s in every category, relevancy then, relevancy now, great stories, great films, marginalized people representation, that's why we just talked about it. These are great things. The Academy isn't everything. Movies should represent more different types of people and different lifestyles and different stories, and we shouldn't judge movies until later.
Tell us what you think. You better agree with us at Silly Sickos on all social media.
Hell yeah.
And tune in next time when we talk about... What are we going to talk about next time?
Night and Day and the King's Speech.
Tune in next time where we talk about Tom Cruise and...
Colin Firth. That one actually won Best Motion Picture. And we don't even want it to be the close, because that's how much we're like, no.
Watch another video and like us, please. Like us. Watch another one of our videos. Bye.